ECW has been revived and Paul Heyman defies every order that Vince McMahon has given him to put on an authentic and extreme show. The doors are locked. The likes of Kurt Angle, Bobby Lashley, and even John Cena are refused entry, and it goes off the rails. RVD shows up with the WWE Championship he won at One Night Stand, and Paul Heyman immediately drops it in the trash and claims that RVD holds the World Championship. There's blood, there's weapons, there's violence, and of course, there's a burning table. However, as the first episode goes off the air, Vince McMahon is fuming and he forces his way into the back and berates Heyman. And he says that if Heyman doesn't follow orders, he's going to pull the rug out from ECW as quickly as he put it there. Which Heyman hears loud and clear, and as they head to the Hammerstein Ballroom for episode 2, he cuts a rather dejected figure. Ladies and gentlemen, I have some bad news. I was told last week by Vincent Kennedy McMahon that he didn't like the show. No, this is serious. I'm taking this on board and I appreciate his feedback, and that's why the opening contest is scheduled to be extreme. Sandman takes on the one and only Sabu, and they're taking it even further than the first episode. Sabu immediately busts Sandman open with a violently thrown chair, but Sandman fires back with the Singapore cane that he's known for. But this is when the glass comes out, and then it gets crazy. Both men holding light tubes and circling around each other as the crowd eats it up. McMahon cuts the feed, and Heyman shows up on Raw, flanked by Tommy Dreamer and RVD to help him past security, who are instructed to not let them in. But Heyman storms through the crowd and then into the ring, and he says, "Vincent Kennedy McMahon, I'm calling your ass out." And Vince storms out, absolutely furious, and he says, "Heyman, you get the hell out of my ring. I cut the show last week because you didn't listen. I warned you, and not you nor anyone will defy me. And you want to throw my championship into the trash? Well, how about this, pal? ECW is going in the trash, and you can't fire me, Vince. The hell I can't. Can't. Do you remember the invasion, Vince? Yeah, it was around 5 years ago, and 5 years ago you created a trust in which you distributed funds to pay for the running costs of anything ECW. Well, when you decided to put me in charge of ECW, you put money in that same fund again, didn't you? And whose name is on that fund? Mine. So not only can you not fire me, you can't end ECW, because we have the money to keep it alive. So with Vince McMahon's millions, ECW lives. Vince fumes at Heyman, who clearly has him checkmated. Heyman has Vince's money, and he's gonna keep ECW alive with it, and there is nothing he can do. Or so he thinks, because as Heyman arrives at the building to put on another show, his own security says he's not allowed in. And they say it's because Vince has cancelled the venue as it was booked by WWE. And Heyman pauses for a moment, then says, "Alright, it. They won't let us in. Set up the ring here. we're doing the show. And you tell anyone that has paid to get in that they're getting a refund, but tell them they're still going to get the show. And tell them it's on Vince McMahon. The show is going on no matter what, and not only has Heyman once again defied McMahon, he's also done some recruiting, and he gives a young upstart his first match against Justin Credible. It's perhaps not the way he envisaged his ECW debut to go, but it embodies everything extreme in every way. And he locks in the Anaconda Vice to pick up the submission victory. CM Punk tries to make even more of an impact when he says that once he earns it, he wants a shot at RVD and the real World Championship. And following this history-making debut, the fans get to see what Vince censored between Sabu and Sandman, which of course is complete and utter carnage, and of course involves light tubes. And even though it's in a car park, you can really feel the rumblings of this movement, and it's especially shown the week after when ECW returns home. But as the show is going on, Heyman starts to get some information, and via picture-in-picture during the matches, Heyman delivers it to the fans. And the first of which is that Vince is in fact agreeing to broadcast ECW because he's already invested millions of dollars, which Heyman says is smart on his behalf, but it doesn't mean they're going to stop the violence. And then later on in the show, during a number one contenders match for the ECW World Championship, the news is that there are thousands of people trying to get in from outside. And he promises that they will be doing a bigger venue soon, of course, with Vince's money. And they're also going to be doing it with a brand new number one contender, the young and hungry CM Punk, setting up a showdown with the whole f***ing show, Rob Van Dam. But it's as Van Dam comes out to face off with Punk, he gets ambushed by a man dressed all in black. And very quickly, he gets whisked away before anyone or CM Punk can come close to stopping them. But Paul, who is standing backstage watching, knows exactly who's behind it, and once again, flanked by ECW soldiers, heads to Raw to figure out just what's going on. However, they don't get stopped on their way in, but they don't even need to say a word before on the Tron, we see Van Dam down next to a man in black who reveals themselves to be the rated R superstar Edge and leader. So you really think that that championship being thrown in the trash means I won't still hunt you down to get it back? I'm owed this. I handed it to you at One Night Stand, Rob. So that's not how this works. You can't just throw it away and think it's done, because I want it. And Paul, I know you're listening, and I know you have it, and you're a smart man. So it needs to be on the line between Rob Van Dam and I real soon, or I'm gonna do something you'll even regret. Edge shuts the camera off and the ultimatum is made, but before Heyman can even respond, it's Cena, Lashley and Kurt Angle, and they take out each and every line of Heyman's extreme defense. It's another masterstroke from Vince, but it's a message from McMahon that he receives next. You want to play dirty, Heyman? You want to run your little pissant shows on my dime? Well, it ends. Because not only am I going to beat you down physically, I'm going to beat you down financially. Because I'm suing your ass. Heyman might have pissed off the wrong billionaire, but he isn't the first nor the last person Paul Heyman pisses off. And he fulfills his promise to the fans who couldn't get into the ECW arena by booking a bigger one. Heyman, in his true defiant fashion, says bigger venue, bigger stars. one of the most famous ECW alumni, appears to be alumni no more, and Foley has a message to Edge. A man who embodies the extreme spirit. But I want to warn you, you're messing with a very dangerous crowd here. But it worked. And it was always going to work, and you knew that. So Paul has given me the great honor of announcing that when you return Rob back home, you've got your match, the WWE Championship. Edge returns Van Dam home and gets what he wants, but as Foley looks on, he gets put down by another Vince-endorsed hitman, and it's JBL, and the heat is off the charts. The ECW crowd want to tear him apart, but they erupt when Tommy Dreamer runs out to try and get at him. But in typical JBL style, he takes off. But what could be an error of judgment is he goes through the crowd, and one fan gets too close and gets a swift right hand across the jaw, and it incites a borderline riot as JBL manages to make it out. And the shots being fired are getting more and more aggressive, but it's Heyman who leads the charge as he responds to Vince McMahon suing him. Are you truly interested in suing me? You've got more money than you'll ever need. So I don't think that's what this is about. I think you're threatened. I think you're threatened by the idea that you stole everything from ECW to make the Attitude Era. You're not the same Vince McMahon you once were. You don't got the balls to let us do what we do. And you sure as hell don't have the balls to fight us for it. So sue me in a courtroom with a suit and tie on, because when it comes to everything on those papers, you can say I'm guilty as charged. Heyman walks off. He doesn't care about a lawsuit. He wants to fight for the power. And Vince, with his ego being bruised, folds. Heyman, you look at me, you son of a bitch. You want to fight for it? You name the time, you name the place, and we'll fight for it. There he is, the old Vince. We'll be in touch. Oh, and there's one more thing. It's Test, a man who was, as Vince saw it, relegated to ECW. But it's a man who has an extensive history with the family, and Test throws fuel on the fire by saying, I guess it's not the first time a McMahon has gotten head from me. The place explodes! Triple H storms out from the back, followed by Stephanie McMahon. And Stephanie McMahon lines up and slaps Heyman in the face. A man she once ran the alliance with, but this has gone far beyond that now. And Test and Triple H are throwing bombs in the ring. But Stephanie then gets in the ring, and she nails Test with a low blow, and Triple H catches him and lands a pedigree. Heyman has potentially gone too far, but this is the ECW way. But is the ECW revival starting to take shape as a burial? Well, not according to Heyman, as he presses forward with full momentum and oversees a monster main event for what they call the Real World Championship, between a young upstart CM Punk and an ECW icon in Rob Van Dam. And it's an instant ECW classic with pure violence and pure carnage, and it's pure joy when CM Punk avoids a 5-star frog splash, sending Van Dam through a table and into the arms for a first time in ECW GTS. It feels like a new era for ECW, and Heyman comes out to personally hand the title to Punk as Van Dam respectfully leaves him to it. But it's then that Van Dam gets assaulted again, and of course, it's Edge. And Edge looks at Heyman and says, so I guess it's this little pissant indie darling that is my next target. But Paul says, oh, he is. If you want a shot at the real World Championship. because this match was for the ECW title. The man behind you still holds the WWE title. Van Dam is back up, and it's a Van Daminator that drops Edge. And Heyman says, well, what better time to announce the time and the place like your boss wanted, Edge? 1 week's time, Hammerstein Ballroom. We cordially invite you to have your asses kicked extreme style at ECW. Barely legal. McMahon arrives for the first time in front of a hostile ECW crowd and challenges Heyman to assemble a team to take on his team at Barely Legal. But not only that, Edge versus Rob Van Dam is made official, and it will be a ladder match for the WWE Championship. Triple H will also be facing Test, and of course, Heyman agrees to all of it, but he wants these matches to count, and whoever collects the most victories on the night will win. And if that winning team is ECW, it exists forever. But McMahon doesn't like that idea. He wants to hedge all bets on one match. It will be your future, CM Punk. And he's going to defend the very future of this pathetic company against my future. So what do you say? Are you a betting man, Paul? And Paul, looking at his younger champion, certainly is a betting man and accepts the challenge. But the question is, who is Vince McMahon's future? I outgrew this shithole a long time ago. I'm going back to the big leagues, baby. It's another brilliantly laid McMahon plan, and Jericho spits in the face of ECW. But will ECW even exist? We're gonna find out in the main event. The future fighting over the future of ECW. And Randy Orton has promised to literally burn the ECW Championship in the middle of the ring the moment he wins it. But Punk embodies everything that this company was built on, and he sees himself as the future of it. And he wants to fight the machine as much as anyone. And this match also embodies everything ECW, and it's extremely violent, and the one-sided crowd is fully behind Punk. But this is Orton, and he's showing Viper-like qualities as he's showing a sick side of his personality, which fits this scene perfectly. But Punk has grit, and he's hungry, and he manages to get on top of Orton, and it feels like this could actually get done in a massive upset. But Vince is Vince, and there's no way he's gonna let this happen. So he storms out from the back, wanting to get involved, and he gets in the ring and gets face to face with Punk. He's telling him that as long as Punk is in his way, he will never amount to anything. But then, boom! Vince gets dropped by a right hand, and it's Paul Heyman. Paulie dangerously has the crowd going berserk. Vince is down, but Orton's up, and he's stalking Punk. And he looks for and lands an RKO. But he doesn't land it on Punk. He lands it on Paul Heyman. Punk does it. The future ensures the future. Paul takes the bullet for him, but also for ECW, which is the very spirit of this company. And with that win, Vince McMahon is forced to cave to Paul Heyman. But most importantly, ECW lives.